Everyone keeps saying to land a data analyst job, you just need to learn as many tools as possible, or as long as you have a certificate, you're good to go. But let me ask you this, if it was really that simple, why are there thousands of people still sitting on the sidelines with a bunch of certificates and even degrees and still unemployed? This is because most job seekers are wasting time on tools that barely show up on job postings. I know because I analyzed nearly 4,000 real data analyst job postings line by line. And what I found completely changes the way you should be learning. 5 skills kept popping up over and over again. And one hidden tool, one that no one talks about, that could literally be the difference between a job offer or another rejection email. So in this video, I'm breaking down those top 5 skills that companies are begging for right now, and why most people are worried about the wrong things, and how you can shift your learning strategy today so you can stop getting ghosted and finally land the data analyst role you've been chasing. Now, if this is your first time here, my name is Kadisha. I used to deliver pizzas, and now I deliver insights as a self-taught data scientist, and I've coached thousands of other career changers how to break into data analytics without going back to school and without wasting time and thousands of dollars on courses that just don't work. And if you ever want to work one-on-one with me and my team to land your first data analyst role in the next 6 months, click the link in the description so we can start working together ASAP. Now let's get into it. The first skill that dominated the job posting is SQL. It's not even close. It showed up in more than 2,400 roles, which means if SQL isn't on your resume, you're automatically cut out from over half of the opportunities before you even get started. Here's what most people miss though. SQL isn't just another line on your resume. It is a non-negotiable on 2 fronts. First, it's the language you'll use on the job, day one, to actually pull and shape data. Every business, whether it's Netflix, Amazon, or your local hospital, runs on databases, and SQL is the universal key to unlock them. Second, SQL is the most tested skill in interviews. When a company gives you a technical screen or even some take-home challenges, 9 out of 10 is going to be SQL they're evaluating, not Excel or even Python. And here's a kicker, hiring managers aren't impressed by the basics. Writing a simple select star from won't get you anywhere. You need to be comfortable with the building blocks that actually prove you can handle real world problems. Things like joins, aggregations, common table expressions, subqueries, window functions, and datetime manipulation. And I see this firsthand. In my program, even one of my students recently had a second round interview the other day that was mostly entirely SQL. That was a gatekeeper. They didn't care about the resume fluff or certifications. What mattered was whether she could query data and solve problems on the spot. So the pros here, massive demand, practical on the job, and it's the very first thing you'll be tested on in interviews. The cons, the basics won't cut it. You'll have to push through into the advanced concepts if you want to compete for roles. The bottom line is if SQL isn't on your resume or showcased on your portfolio and you cannot back it up in an interview, do not expect a job offer. Next up is Python, the second most in-demand skill I found in these job postings, showing up nearly 2,000 times. Now, the truth about Python is it's not required for every single data analyst role, but when it does show up, it's almost always tied to more higher paying jobs, bigger companies, and more advanced projects. Python matters because it does what Excel or SQL can't do easily: automate repetitive tasks so you're not stuck manually cleaning spreadsheets for hours, handling messy real-world data faster than any other tool, and even in some cases, providing deeper analysis like building data pipelines, running statistical tests, or creating visuals. That's why recruiters light up when they see Python on a resume. It signals that you can handle bigger, messier, higher impact problems. But let me be clear on something. You don't need to become a machine learning engineer to get hired as a data analyst. You don't need to build AI models or write thousands of lines of code. What you need to do is comfort with the essentials: pandas, NumPy, basic data wrangling, automating reports, maybe some visuals like Matplotlib or Seaborn. In my coaching program, I've seen students land 6-figure roles without ever touching Python, but the ones who do add it on top of the essentials of SQL and visualization tools, and they usually level up faster and stand out more in interviews. So the pros here, Python makes you more efficient and it signals advance to employers, and it opens up doors to some more higher paying roles. The cons, it's not always required, and if you spend months buried in tutorials without mastering SQL SQL, data visualization, and storytelling first, you're just wasting your time. The third skill that kept popping up in those 4,000 job postings is Tableau, with over 1,200 mentions. And here's why this matters. Companies don't want people that just crunch numbers. They want analysts who know how to tell a story behind the numbers. And Tableau is one of the most popular tools for doing exactly that. Now think about it. What good is finding insights if no one understands them? Tableau turns raw data into dashboards and visuals that non-technical people, your managers, executives, or even entire teams can easily make decisions. That's why hiring managers care so much about Tableau. A candidate who can explain the so what behind the numbers is far more valuable than the one who can just run queries, do code, and sends up spreadsheets. Now, here's the level of Tableau that gets you hired. Build clean, interactive, and functional dashboards that actually answer business questions, knowing when to use filters, parameters, and calculated fields, and most importantly, applying design principles. No clutter, no extra labels, and storytelling in every chart. And I'll be blunt, most candidates get this completely wrong. They throw a bunch of charts on a dashboard and call it done. That's not analysis, that's just noise. The analysts who stand out are the ones who design visuals that feel effortless to understand. One of my students who works in the streaming industry used Tableau to speed up a feature resolution by over 50% just by building dashboards her team could actually use. That's the kind of impact recruiters and hiring managers want to see on your portfolio. Now, the pros here is that Tableau is highly in demand and it makes your work visible across an organization, and it's one of the fastest ways to prove your value in an interview. The cons, it's very easy to be average, and if your dashboards look like cluttered Excel charts, you're not getting hired. The fourth skill that showed up again and again in the job postings is Excel, with over 1,100 mentions. Now, a lot of people underestimate Excel. They think it's just too basic, too old school, but here's the truth, companies are still running on Excel. It's not going anywhere anytime soon either, and hiring managers expect analysts to just know it. Why? Because Excel is often a bridge tool. It's where quick analysis happens, where messy data gets cleaned up very quickly, and where executives still expect to see reports sometimes. In fact, I've seen analysts land roles where Excel alone was a deciding factor because they knew how to move beyond the basics and actually prove that they can analyze data with it. Now, you can't just list Excel in your resume. You need to be comfortable with the analyst level skills. Pivot tables and charts to quickly summarize and export data, lookup functions like VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP, conditional formatting to highlight trends and outliers, descriptive stats, mean, median, mode, variance, and distributions that you can apply directly into Excel. And on the data cleaning side, handling missing values, outlier treatments, using Power Query to automate those repetitive prep tasks. The analysts who stand out are the ones who know how to turn a raw spreadsheet into something insightful quickly. I've had students walk into interviews where the Excel take-home assignment decided everything. And because they knew the pivot tables, they knew the formulas, they knew the storytelling, they walked out with offers. Now, the pros here, almost every analyst role uses Excel in some way. It's fast, it's familiar, and it's trusted by executives. The cons here, if Excel is all that you know, your career ceiling and earning potential will be limited. Companies expect you to go beyond into SQL and BI tools. The bottom line here is that while Excel may not be glamorous, it is foundational. If you skip it, you're going to be exposed in interviews. And if you master it, you will have a skill that will pay off from day one on the job. The fifth skill that showed up nearly 1,000 times on the job postings was Power BI. Think of Power BI as Tableau's cousin. It's another business intelligence tool, and it's especially popular at companies that's already inside the Microsoft ecosystem: finance, logistics, healthcare, government, you name it. If a company runs on Excel and Office 365, chances are they're running on Power BI as well. Now, why does this matter? Because just like Tableau, Power BI isn't about just making charts. It's also about making dashboards that drive business decisions. Hiring managers don't want a wall of random visuals. They want clean, interactive dashboards that answer the right questions. So here's a level of Power BI skills that get you hired: connecting multiple data sources from Excel to SQL databases, writing DAX measures that add real analytical power to your dashboards, designing with intent, using filters, slicers, and drill downs to make data easy to navigate, and most importantly, storytelling, making sure every chart and KPI tells the audience why it matters. I've seen candidates blow interviews simply because they pasted screenshots of cluttered Power BI dashboards into a portfolio. And I've seen others win roles because their dashboards were clear, structured, and easy for executives to act on. The difference is night and day. The pros, Power BI is growing quickly and it's the favorite for Microsoft heavy organizations. And it gives you a serious edge if you're applying to finance or enterprise level companies. The cons, if you don't know DAX or how to structure dashboards for clarity, you'll look like a beginner and no matter how many hours you spent clicking around. The bottom line is Tableau and Power BI both open doors. You don't need to master both to get hired. Pick one and get really good at it. However, Power BI is a ticket if you're targeting companies already deep into the Microsoft stack. Now, here's a surprise tool that almost nobody talks about, but it can absolutely make or break your chances in an interview, and that's PowerPoint. I know what you're thinking. PowerPoint? That's not technical skill. But here's the truth. Almost every take-home assignment ends the same way. You'll have to present your findings. And how do you present them? In a slide deck. And this is where most candidates blow it. They spend hours cleaning data, writing SQL queries, and writing a bunch of code. But when it comes to actually presenting their insights in a digestible way, they slap some screenshots into a PowerPoint and call it done. That's not analysis, that's just noise. Here's what hiring managers actually want to see in a strong slide deck. One clear takeaway per slide, not 5 charts crammed together. Action titles that summarize the insights at the top. So even when an executive is skimming, they get to the point. Visuals designed for clarity, not just pasted dashboards, but charts that fit the story that you're telling. Supporting content like subtitles or annotations that show that you can connect the data to the business impact. In other words, your ability to communicate is just as important as your ability to query the data. I've seen candidates get rejected, not because of their SQL was wrong, but because their presentation was a mess. And I've seen others win offers because their slide decks and dashboards made effortless for the panel of executives to see the insights and recommendations. The pros, strong presentations instantly set you apart because most candidates ignore this skill and simply aren't good at it. The cons, it does take practice. Data analysts aren't trained to be storytellers by default, but the ones who are, they get noticed. The bottom line is you want to master PowerPoint because in the hiring process, you're not just tested on what you find, you're tested on how well you can explain it. So let's bring it home. You've been told that breaking into data analytics is about collecting endless certificates or learning every tool under the sun. It's not. Companies are only hiring for specific high demand skills. Most applicants don't have them at the right level, and that's exactly why they keep getting ghosted. But now you know what's going on. SQL, Python, Tableau, Excel, or Power BI, and yes, even PowerPoint are the skills that get you into the door, help you pass interviews, and help you stand out from the flood of other applicants. And if you're still here watching this tells me one thing. You're not just curious, you're serious about making your career change happen. So if you want to dive deeper into the exact roadmap my students have used to land their first analyst roles without going back to school and wasting thousands of dollars on another wasteful bootcamp, click the link in the description and you'll get instant access to my free training and details on how we can work together ASAP. You're not too late, you're just getting started, so let's make your next move your best move.